It's November 1st, 2025. Today in Walmart 62. People were talking. Well, they were talking everywhere today. How that agent told Unwell that he caught that deal with him. And they were wanting to know if I knew anything about it. No. Dear God, no. I mean, they already told everybody, the investigators, when the case first started. Only thing Karen knew was Dave was threatening her life and her family's life, and she had people threatening her life outside of town. That's it. I didn't know anything about drug cartels, this Will guy. Still never met him in person. Or there's some guy named Pete Dave hired on his own I've heard about. I've never even spoke to Michelle in person. Or this lady that's involved. It's that bad. I was hurt by people I've never met. Think how scary that is. Now, where I did the video earlier, this is how not funny this is. And that's where this coming out that September 30th, 25, about 1 o'clock in the morning, a biker confronts Michelle that this whole thing is her family's debt to drug dealers. Here, they're in debt to drug dealers. She admits, I don't know who she is. That they knew they were even threatening that agent's life because they thought he was letting everyone be human trafficked. Here it was her family, and her family even human trafficked people to help pay back those drug dealers. That the cartel already admitted that they photoshopped everything on me before and got it out of my ex-husband. That it was a medication error that made me sick before, medical malpractice and fraud. And she knew them, and they encouraged us to sue him for years. And that she was behind my new husband's family to tell him that they can bash in his head, kidnap him, take him out to Youngstown, have him found incompetent, have everything signed over to him. They had an attorney out there and it all set up because she wanted that land. Then October 14th, 25, Walmart 62 by Wood Forest. A lady saying, Will wants that land. Will can't have it, too bad. Should offer me a lot more money. Should have came up and offered me money for it. You want it bad? It's called pay for things. That's how not funny this is. And they've incited Rick, Carl's son, to do this, and he's in debt, and if he don't get that farm, he's going to lose everything. Drugs are fool's bets with them. It's big extortion. Yeah, his debts are not my problem, nor will they be. Which him bragging that he had notes that between me and Carl, and their notes are gone. Never had him at my apartment. He's had to get in and remove them or have somebody do it. They had to go through a personal bin where I had personal paperwork, where I had my taxes. So now the idiot has my social. Officer Marker, Officer John, me and Carl probably do need IDs. Tuscarawas Sheriff Cox, she told me to take my husband, run, hide him. There's other people involved. They're already under investigation for stalking harassment, and with all the threats and the extremes they're going to, and telling people they're going to bash Carl's skull in and mine too, to take my husband and run and hide him and never let his family see him again for them threatening him. But they would have my social. They admitted he's been in a personal joint checking account Knew of a transaction where Carl helped me pay some of my bills off, and I paid him back. See, they didn't know I have a different account. That's another joint account in a different bank. Because it's none of their business. They need to learn that. All they had to do was love their father. In 10 to 15 years, that firm would have been theirs. Now they get nothing. Not a damn thing. So, but now I want you to think about how not funny this is. Okay? I called the FBI hotline. I report threats and attempts on my life. Cried my eyes out. I'll have an agent call you back. Next morning, the phone's ringing. Let it go to voicemail. I can't even wake up hardly. Okay? Wake up later, so drugged up I can't stand up straight. Holding on the wall to get to the bathroom, get to the refrigerator, get back to bed. Listen to that voicemail. This is agent. Did it call me back? I can't. I fell back to sleep. Second day, I'm not much better. Third day, I made myself get up. I'm sitting on the front porch. What's wrong with me again? I feel drunk and I don't drink. I got enough air in my face. And I called one of my witnesses. I gave the hotline. Said they had witnessed for me. Went out and bought a car, put that agent's number in it, and dropped it off at the mall. Went up to Apostolic Church of Pemberton. Paul Pamer got in Dave's face. My God, I had an FBI agent in my office. He's right there. I walk up as he's screaming in front of hundreds of people. How dare you bring the FBI up here with threats and threats on her life? Two women walk up. He knows she's being drug beat and raped. He said he didn't care. I'm covered in bruises, lost 18 pounds, severely infected. Never seen, never talked to anybody. We moved to this new home outside Ravenna. It's supposed to be a retirement home. Okay? Sixth day while we're getting stuff at the storage unit. Come home and the door's kicked into the wall. You can actually line up the doorknob to the wall. There's a big patch. I had to put mesh and everything, sanded it with electric sander. Did a good job. But you can scratch off the paint and it's there. Dave's making up excuses not to report it. Nothing's missing. Okay? That's when the blank cameras were supposed to go up. The stalking tapes. Felony invasion of privacy. Cyber stalking. By the second week, I'm covered in bruises, throwing up, infected. And the only thing new to me is that house. The well water's orange. We had a test that had high levels of different kinds of iron in it. Doctor said it wouldn't have done anything. But I thought it was toxic. Because I didn't get sick till I started showering in it. I thought it was giving me cancer. I would take a shower, dry off, get in bed, wake up with orange, lemon, grapefruit sized bruises, throwing up, severely infected, almost passing out. Migraine headache. Going to the doctor, what on earth is wrong with me? Some mornings I'd wake up and I'd be fine. I would come in and from working outside, wash my hands, make a sandwich, and I would always drink way too much Diet Coke. And I had a 2-liter of it. Pour a glass. Go in and use the bathroom, wash my hands. Better. Sit down and take a drink. And then when we got to see black people, it said, you know, some dad walked up and stabbed her with a hypnotic drug. Before she took that drink, and she didn't even remember them stabbing her. It works that fast. No, I didn't. And when they dragged me up and told me to say it, Photoshop my head on somebody else's body. I found out July 24, 25, where they already admitted it was a shower scene in the room. It is a shower scene. It's someone washing, but it's not even me. Body ratio. Put my head on somebody else's body. Sorry, documented, verified. And it's documented, verified. They used hypnotic drugs on me when they drugged me and told me to say it before. That's why I have no memory of these people and a metal taste in my mouth I couldn't get out. Now, like I said I'd take a drink in the room, go to see black, wake up with the bruises, throwing up, infected. almost passing out. Migraine headache. Going to the doctor. My community health on 7th Street in Canton. What on earth is wrong with me? I said, the well water. Is it giving me cancer? And they're giving me stuff for personal infection, throwing up, headache, migraines, even iron pills because I was bruising so bad. Nobody thought of a rapist. Kept happening. Here I'm being human trafficked. People even said, do you realize that agent on a recorded line not only admitted he knew they were harming her and trying to, but he had told people he knew she was being human trafficked. He didn't care. That's how not funny this is. Okay? So I called the hotline. Now I've never even had my neighbors on my phone. Family repair guys, 2 silly officers on August 8 of 18, midnight, light in the outside security system, came out and said it looked like an alien orb, angry spirit, and told me to buy a dog and let a dog hand on it. They weren't bothered. There's probably one of those idiots coming over to rape me, and I caught him. And they're telling me to buy a dog. Okay? So, I called the FBI hotline. Told you how the next morning, couldn't hardly wake up, the phone's ringing, let it go to voicemail. Woke up later, had to hold onto the wall, bent over, trying to get to the bathroom, refrigerator. Got back in bed, left the voicemail, this is agent, da-da-da-da, call me back, I can't. Second day, not much better. Third day, I'm sitting on the front porch, holding my head, what's wrong with me? I feel drunk, and I don't drink. Got enough air in my face, called one of my witnesses. Said they had witnessed for me, went out and bought a card. And made an excuse to go to the mall before I went to church. Dropped it off at the mall. Manager put it in her locker. Went up to Apostolic Church of Barberton. Paul Paymer screaming in front of hundreds of people, my God, I had an FBI agent. My office is right there. I walk off, woman comes up. He knows she's being drugged, being raped. And he said he didn't care. My heart's sinking in my stomach. I was a little better. I go in and I sit down. They follow me. So they sit behind me. He knows she's being drugged, being raped, and he said he didn't care if she was the strangest liar, called me a faker. 6 months after her family's father killed their kid in a traffic accident, running a stop sign into a semi. I wasn't even there. Had nothing to do with it. He just made up that baby lie to get rid of me because he thought I was following Tim and Katie. His son with his mistress. And it was my sister following her husband. That's how not funny this is. He said, you know, she's being drugged, being raped. He said he didn't care. If she was going to be faking she was sick. Well, that family was grieving. 6 months later, had nothing to do with him. It took me 9 months to get well. He didn't care what they did to her. And if she was going to be mean to women, he was going to turn her back over to him. Can you imagine an agent saying that? People said she didn't even realize what people were saying. No, I didn't. She was so drugged up there. Dave comes in, let's go. Get out in the truck. You called the FBI on me, I had to kill you myself. I said, what did you expect with you threatening my life and these other people in the tents? And he's like, he goes for a loaded gun. I put my hand on a counsel. He goes to beating me on the way home. I almost jumped out of the vehicle. I ran from him when I got home. Next morning, rivers of tears. I call that agent back. I tell him someone told on me. He calls me a liar. I tell him about a guy that threatened to knife me at Giant Eagle. Okay? Calls me a liar. Starts screaming about a camera above the bench. I don't know. I tried to stay alive that day. Dear God, I almost passed out. I was already dizzy when I sat down on that bench. I said, I don't know if there's a camera above the bench. You say you're lying or I'll arrest you. And I said, well, he tried to kidnap me before. And before I can say Terry Coberly seen him, he's like, oh, come on now. He said, even if a church person seen him, they'd never verify it. Well, she did. That's why I didn't mention it. He said, I've had that family in my office, the one her father murdered her kid, vehicular homicide. I wasn't even there. And all those church people, and I know they're trying to kill you. Then why didn't you why didn't you arrest them? Why didn't you arrest them? Why didn't you arrest them? Do your job. Arrest them. Conspiracy to commit murder and attempt to murder are federal crimes. Why didn't you do your job and arrest them? No, here I found out about 8-9 days ago, outside my work, there was a guy out there saying how he cut a deal. I didn't arrest that guy for doing this tour. I didn't arrest that guy for doing this tour. If he agreed to turn all his drug contacts over to me, and I'll tell people I don't care what happens to her, that's a federal crime. He can make a deal that he won't arrest him if he turns over his drug dealers. But he can't turn me over to him. That is a federal crime. That is a federal crime. I was out there complaining how he made that deal with that guy. People said they were waiting for me to say if I knew anything. No, I didn't know anything. Think I'd stay up there and not get paid? Huh? Risk my life knowing I wouldn't have any help and just let them try to kill me? For him to get drug dealers? Are you fucking kidding me? I didn't know anything. But he admits he already talked to everyone. You listen to the recorded line? It's horrible.